Right now, everyone's looking for ways to save money any way they possibly can, and that makes total sense. Even if you have a steady job, you've been frugal, and you know that your income's going to continue, it may still be a good time to go ahead and start stockpiling some cash. So I've always been frugal, and I've also been spending less money than I usually do. I'm pretty much only spending money on groceries and my house right now. I really haven't been spending money on anything. And this may be a great time for you to save as well because, well, pretty much everything's closed. There isn't exactly a lot to do out there. But in this video, I'm actually going to be talking about spending some money. No, I'm not saying that you want to go out and waste your money. I'm going to be talking about everyday items that you can actually purchase right now that will save you a lot of money in the long term. So let's not focus primarily on the stock market, especially to begin this list. Let's try to practically invest in different things throughout your life that you use every day. The 5 things that I'm going to be covering today won't just pay for themselves quickly, they will actually end up making you money in the returns that they bring. So investing in the market in individual stocks and something like that can seem kind of enticing right now because there could be huge gains. However, there could also be huge losses and you could lose a lot of money. The reason is because we don't know how long this economic slide is going to continue. Consider these 5 items that I'm going to be reviewing today instead of investing in individual stocks, because these 5 items I guarantee will have a gain. And since you're already here, if you could hit the like button and subscribe, that would help a lot more people to be able to see videos like this. Now, the first item that I'm going to be covering today is something that's going to pay for itself within 2 months, and that is a coffee maker. Coffee is a staple for the majority of adults in this country, and it should be something that's relatively cheap. However, over the years, people have been spending more and more money every time that they go out to buy a cup of coffee at some gourmet coffee shop. There was a study conducted by Acorns Investing that stated millions of millennials are spending more money on their coffee than their retirement. In the article written about this on the Simple Dollar, they said the average 25 to 34-year-old was spending roughly $2,008 each year at coffee shops. This breaks down to about $167 every month. That made me think, what if you took this money and saved it and put it in a S&P index and held it for 40 years? What would that look like? At $2,008 per year, investing at the average 9.8 return by the S&P, in 40 years, you would have over $900,000 saved. Now, I'm not saying that you should give up coffee altogether. I'm just looking at limiting the amount of money that you're actually spending on it, especially when you're going out. To help, look for a quality coffee maker that can range anywhere from $50 even to $200. Any of these options are going to save you a lot of money. Even buying the $200 machine is going to end up paying for itself in 2 months' time. Ultimately, you can buy any brand of coffee bean that you want. As long as you're making it at home, you're going to really see the savings pile up. Okay, so the second item that I would suggest that you invest yourself in is a reusable water bottle. For some reason, water, just like coffee, if you're buying it out, it is outrageously expensive. Bottled water has become a staple in many American households, even though the cost of it continues to rise. According to the Water Project, Americans are spending an average of $100 per person per year on bottled water. Now, that may not seem like a crazy amount of money, but consider it for the average family of 4 spending $400 a year on water. If they took that same $400 and invested it in an S&P index and averaged 9.8% return for just 20 years, they could have over $24,000 saved. Savings here isn't even the craziest part. The crazy part is that water comes from our tap, and you can get as much as you want of it for pennies for a gallon. As a country, in 2017, we spent over $110 billion on water treatment, according to the Congressional Budget Office. This was to ensure that we're going to have clean water coming out of every tap, and yet we still continue to buy tons and tons and tons of bottled water. Do yourself a favor. Buy yourself a reusable water bottle and fill it up in the sink. The future you will be happy you did. The third item is a library card. In the United States, we're roughly spending $3 billion every single year to maintain our library systems, according to the American Library Association. Breaking this down is just $7.50 per month per household in the United States. And everyone pays for this. This comes directly out of your taxes. So whether you're using the library or not, you're already invested in this. The price here is actually a bargain considering the amount of value that you can have from this. If you use the library wisely, you can teach yourself new skills, get better jobs, or just jobs that pay more or you just enjoy more without paying any additional cost. And the library isn't just limited to books, in case you haven't been there in a while. There are also audiobooks and movies and instructional magazines, and in many cases, there are machines that you can rent, like a 3D printer. Some people are running entire businesses by just using the elements available at the library. If you haven't been to your local library in a while, I'd highly recommend checking it out. Instead of doing movie night out or buying one on your TV, go ahead and rent it from the library. Instead of buying an audiobook for $25 or whatever it costs, go ahead and download Overdrive, which is an online library that allows you to download thousands of audiobooks for free, and you can listen to them as much as you want for 21 days. You won't regret your decision to actually start using a library. You've already been paying for it every single month since you've been paying taxes, so let's start using it. The fourth item I would recommend is a reliable used car. Now, I understand this is a larger expense. However, it can save you a lot of money over the course of how many years you're going to be driving. Comparing this to the purchase of a new car or a leased car is outrageous. According to CNBC, the average lease payment is $487 per month compared to $548 for a new car purchase and $411 for used cars. Now, $411 still seems pretty high for me for a used car. So I would suggest saving up some money and just buying a car outright. So when I was in college, I bought a 2001 Camry. Pretty slick. And yes, I continued to drive this and drive this and drive this after I graduated and actually started my career. Since I had landed a solid job, I had a lot of people asking me like, hey, when are you going to be upgrading your car? This thing looks like garbage. But honestly, I didn't care about impressing anyone, especially with my vehicle. So I continued to drive this, and I just loved knowing that I had a completely paid for vehicle. At the time I purchased the car, it was only $4,000 and I paid for it in cash. The upkeep was very minimal. It was about $50 a month on average, which was saving me roughly $400 compared to if I had leased something new. I ended up driving this car for 8 years, which ended up saving me $38,000. I then used this car to just upgrade and buy another used car in cash just last year. So look for ways that you can save a ton of money by purchasing your car. Don't use debt, don't go and lease something, try and purchase it outright. Now I know that I was looking at day-to-day items that you're gonna be using all the time. However, this last item is a true investment. It's definitely less risky than individual stocks. And what I'm talking about here are ETFs, specifically ETFs that follow the S&P. Now in previous videos, I have discussed individual stocks that I've invested in. And I know that this is risky. And the only reason that I invest in individual stocks is, well, it's kind of fun. And I'm only using money that I know that I'll be okay if I do lose it. If you are using individual stocks as a sustainable way to build your wealth, maybe consider ETFs. There's a lot less risk that you're going to lose everything. And there are tons of different advantages to ETFs. So what is an ETF? It's an exchange-traded fund, much like buying an individual stock. However, there's less risk because it's more diversified. And it's way cheaper than buying into directly the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones. An ETF can hold stocks, bonds, or commodities. This allows you to diversify without having to buy individual stocks and keep track of them yourself. Examples are ticker SPY. This ETF actually follows the 500 companies that are in the S&P 500. Another example of an ETF is VOO, which is a Vanguard option. This includes 508 companies, again, very similar to the S&P 500. Both options here are around $230 a piece, so they're actually very reasonable, and many sites like Ally, they don't charge any commission to purchase them right now. Investing in one of these is like investing in the entire economy rather than picking individual companies that you want to invest in. So rather than putting all of your eggs in one basket, I feel more comfortable knowing that I'm investing in the entire economy, knowing that for the most part, most of these companies are going to be okay. Now, while it may be fun and exciting to see these huge gains seen by individual companies, I would much rather know that I'm going to be better off in the long term looking at ETFs. All of the items that I covered in this video today are something that you can invest in today. They're all going to pay for themselves very quickly. They'll either pay you back on the same day, within a couple days, within a couple weeks, or, a few years from now. But they're all going to have positive returns. So rather than going out and buying your $3, $4, $5 cup of coffee or your $25 listen to once audiobook, consider these 5 options. Now more than ever, it's important to save. And looking at these 5 items and thinking about purchasing these, you can help secure your future financial freedom. So please do your own homework here. Figure out what you want to be purchasing to help you and your family for the future. Even in the crazy times that we're living in right now, there are so many opportunities to help yourself. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the 5 items that I listed here and on if there's anything that you are also purchasing that's helping you make some money. Let me know in the comments below. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, definitely consider subscribing to the channel for more. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next video.